Hello everyone and welcome to the live stream. I hope that you are all doing well. Welcome to the stream. It is Tuesday. I feel like I need to start saying this at the beginning of my videos and my content because I can never remember what day it is. I can never remember the days. Welcome everyone to the discussion stream. I hope that you are all doing well tonight. We are going to be talking about a couple of updates and a couple of topics that I haven't covered in videos that I feel are very important to discuss. So the first one is going to be Disney theme parks take $1 billion hit amid coronavirus closures. I've followed pretty closely the situation with Disney, their financial reports. And now that, the coronavirus has been going on for a couple of months and we've really seen businesses and revenue and sources of revenues kind of die off, we're really starting to see companies suffer, and Disney is a company that is going and has already suffered hugely. We're also going to talk about Star Wars. There was a new Star Wars book that came out that basically said Luke Skywalker is trash. Luke Skywalker did nothing and it was all Jyn Erso from Rogue One, and Luke basically just walked into the situation and got all the credit. Of course, men these days taking credit for a woman's hard work. It's unfortunately basically what is being said. We're also going to talk about how we have another journalist from VG 24/7 attacking gamers for not supporting Sony, and they're basically supporting the leaked The Last of Us 2 story. I've covered The Last of Us 2 in a couple of videos at this point, and Naughty Dog in a couple of videos at this point. But I really just wanted to talk about it because it's basically making fun of gamers, saying fuck you if you don't like the likes, if you don't like the leaks and the point of view for the story that they went with, which is absurd. How many times can a journalist call the people they're trying to market to, toxic and man babies and all of these things? So we're gonna have a little laugh at that. And I also wanted to talk about Batwoman. I've covered Batwoman once or twice on the channel, but I just haven't felt as though it was even worth my time in a way because it was so piss poor. Usually when I play a game that has controversy surrounding it, or I talk about a show that may have controversy surrounding it, I want to have interest in it before I do. I don't want to just talk about things that I hate and that I don't care about. Obviously, I'm talking about gaming and, the entertainment industries because I care about it, but I genuinely really had no interest in Batwoman. I've watched most of it. I've suffered through it, and we're going to talk about how the numbers for Batwoman are abysmal and how they have completely plummeted into the ground because it's bad. So those are the topics for tonight, but before we get into them, welcome everyone to the live stream. I hope that you guys are doing good. Hey there, chat. Hello. I really love Luke Skywalker in the original movies. I feel, now I know a lot of woke people with their hot takes would say that all of the movies, it never was telling the Skywalker saga, because we've actually heard that a couple of times, that, well, the movie wasn't focused around one Skywalker, it was focused around all of the Skywalkers. I disagree. I think that all of the movies have been focused on Luke Skywalker, and without Luke Skywalker, the movies are trash. I mean, we see, the last movie, The Rise of Skywalker, and how Rey basically stole the Skywalker name. Everyone is dead, and there's no one to compete her for it. She basically stole the name. Poor Skywalkers, honestly. Honestly, come on. Like, I love Star Wars. I've said this multiple times now. I love Star Wars. Star Wars it's it for me. I love Star Wars, everything about it, but The Rise of Skywalker was awful. The Last Jedi was really bad. And I've said it multiple times, The Force Awakens was honestly a decent basis for a trilogy. No, was awful. It ended up awful. It started at like a 6, maybe a 5 was like The Force Awakens, and then it went down to like a 3, and then The Rise of Skywalker honestly was just a pure 2 for me. 1 to 2, awful. But we can rant more about Star Wars when we get to the Luke Skywalker topic. Luke must be avenged. I agree. Luke Skywalker is amazing. 10 out of 10 character. He is one of the best fictional characters, in my opinion, to ever be written. I know that that's a hot take. There's plenty of other fictional characters that are amazing too, but I mean, looking at Star Wars alone, he's the best character. There's no characters that compete with him, honestly. Calling The Last of Us 2 garbage is bad for trash. I won't be getting a PlayStation 5 for sure. I don't want to say that I won't be getting a PlayStation 5. I don't want to say boycott Sony. Sony has done a lot of bad shit. And honestly, I know that, you know, a lot of people are only looking at what Sony's doing now because Sony is in the spotlight again for, like, The Last of Us 2, but Sony has done bad shit for years. Sony has forced censorship upon developers. They've had awful rules for developers. Sony has been bad for many years. If you bought a PlayStation 4, you were supporting their bad behaviors. And I'm sure most people will still buy a PlayStation 5. It's not like there are, you know, it's not like there are 10, 20, 30 different options for consoles. You mainly have the Xbox. You have Microsoft, Sony, and then Nintendo, and of course you could get a PC, which I'm sure most of you guys would do if you really didn't want to support it, but you have exclusive games that a lot of people are interested in, and honestly, you know, the PlayStation 5, I'm interested in it. I don't like what Sony has done in the past, but it's still kind of inevitable to support them in some capacity. I mean, if you own any other PlayStation devices, you've obviously supported them and whatnot, but you know, I know a lot of people are very disappointed. Like Drew is saying, they backed out of their backwards compatibility. They did explain, I'll talk about this real quick before we get into the first topic. They did explain that they backed out of the kind of the backwards compatibility due to licensing. They said it would be so hard to get licenses for games that are, you know, 15 years old. They said a lot of companies were dissolved, you know, a lot of companies have moved, the rights have changed, so they said that it would be very difficult to actually make that backwards compatibility dream come true because they'd have to basically resell the games again, and a lot of companies don't exist or they don't want to do business, so in one way, I understand why they didn't do the backwards compatibility, but it's honestly just kind of disappointing to me. I was someone that was personally looking forward to the backwards compatibility. I thought that it was a great idea, but logistically, it was a very, I don't want to say out there idea, but it was kind of a very risky idea. I just think that they had hyped up backwards compatibility quite a bit, and they had put kind of a focus on it when they were talking about what the PlayStation 5, what they hoped it would be, and we just didn't get that. Obviously, it's going to be backwards compatible with, like, PlayStation, what did they say, 3 games? Which I guess is better than nothing. Oh my goodness, my eye is killing me. But it's still just not what a lot of people wanted. Give me 1 second, you guys. I have to check my eye really quickly. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to put the pause screen on. 2 seconds. All right, we are back. We are good. Sorry about that. 2 seconds are up. I did my best. I did my best. Yeah, the PlayStation 5 is only backwards compatible with PlayStation 4 for what they've said now, but they didn't say that originally. They did originally say that they had plans for a lot more backwards compatibility. I guess we were naive to think that they would actually do that. Sony just hacked into Vera's eye, I know, and YouTube's fucking up tonight. I think maybe Sony's hacking into my YouTube, because it says there's 0 people here. Pfft, you guys are no ones to YouTube. Alright, you guys, why don't we get started and get into the first topic, which is Disney. Now, I've covered Disney quite a bit. You know, they've delayed movies like most of Hollywood. Obviously, Disney has been in a pretty iffy place because they had CEOs change, you know. I mean, they had Bob Iger, then they went back to Chapek, and now they're back to Iger. So they went from Bob Iger to Bob Chapek, and then back to Bob Iger. I hope that I explained that right the first time. But basically, there's the battle of the Bobs. And Disney theme parks are taking a $1 billion hit amid coronavirus closures. Now, we all know that Disney closed their theme parks a couple of weeks ago. They've been closed for, 2 months at this point, and they are starting to slowly reopen some parks, but the outside of the United States, but there are rumors that they will not actually reopen theme parks until January 2021. And if they've already taken $1 billion hit from it being closed for maybe 1 to 2 months, whoo, F's in chat for Disney. So, Walt Disney Company, world's largest entertainment company, reported quarterly earnings for the first time since the coronavirus crisis shut down domestic theme parks and brought Hollywood to a standstill. As expected, it wasn't pretty. Whew, boy. Imagine the money that Disney makes every year, and then imagine them losing so much of that. I kind of want to say that I feel bad, but at the same time, I kind of don't feel bad, like the way that they've acted. Anyway, the Burbank Giants' profit dropped dramatically during the 3 months that ended in March, the month that fears of the COVID-19 pandemic shuttered Disneyland Resort and Walt Disney World, halted film and TV production, and suspended live sports indefinitely. When you hear the word indefinitely, you know usually that something's bad. Look at The Last of Us 2. They said it's delayed indefinitely, and then 3 weeks later they announce it. But in most cases, the word indefinitely is a huge word. So, earnings for the second fiscal quarter fell 63% from the same period a year ago to 60 cents a share, the company said Tuesday. That was worse than when Wall Street anticipated. Analysts polled by FactSet on average had expected 89 cents a share. Net income fell a staggering 91% to $475 million. Now, obviously, numbers like $1 billion and $475 million are still huge numbers. They're still huge. But compared to how much they usually make, it's kind of baffling to hear that they've lost so much money. But we all expected that because they have to close the parks. There's no way to get around that with things like social distancing and, people being sick and people needing that time off. It's inevitable that they were going to close them. 91%. Disney estimated that the business missed out on $1 billion in operating income due to the theme park closures during the quarter, which ended March 28th. About half of the $1 billion hit was from the firm's U.S. theme parks, which were closed for just 2 weeks during the period. They are only counting 2 weeks. Holy shit. International parks and cruise ships made up the rest, Disney said. They have talked about, or we've heard rumors, I guess I should say, that international parks, some of them are going to be starting to reopen. But the cruises, those aren't going to be open for a very long time. Disney closed its domestic parks in Disneyland Paris in mid-March amid the growing public health concerns surrounding the novel coronavirus. The crisis has taken a major toll on the broader media industry, but Disney in particular has suffered because of its reliance on in-person experiences such as parks, movie theaters, cruise ships, and retail stores. The outbreak came just as Disney was transitioning to new leadership, with Bob Iger stepping aside from the chief executive role in late February to make way for his successor, Chapek, who previously ran the parks and resort empire. There was a conspiracy theory going around, which I did talk about in one of my last discussion streams, surrounding Bob Iger and Bob Chapek, and that was that Bob Iger saw what was going on, saw that the coronavirus and COVID-19 was going to be serious, so he decided to step down, and then when Chapek couldn't handle it, he basically swooped back in to appear to be like the savior, like the guy that was gonna save Disney. It honestly doesn't sound that unrealistic when you think about it. At this point, I mean, he stepped out literally, like, right before shit hit the fan. And then he just casually comes walking back in when Chapek can't handle it. It's just a conspiracy theory, but it's a very believable one. I mean, not Chapek, Iger, if you did that, props to you. You're very smart. I mean, he's so rich, of course he's that smart, but the challenges we're facing are unprecedented, Iger said on a call with analysts. However, he added, I have absolute confidence in our ability to get through this challenging period. To weather the shutdowns, Disney has added billions of dollars to its debt load, slashed executive salaries, and furloughed more than 100,000 of its 223,000 employees. The furloughs have hit tens of thousands of parks and cruise workers, as well as employees at the company's movie studio division. Whew. We are fully committed to getting our employees back to work as quickly as the current situation allows, Chapek said on a call. While these were not easy decisions, I do believe they have been the right ones. I would agree with him. They're such a huge company, but giving employees time at home as long as they're being paid, which unfortunately in a lot of cases, in a lot of industries they aren't, it's good. It's good to send people home instead of risk their health, but let's be honest, we knew that states were not going to allow places like Disneyland to be open. If the malls aren't open, then Disneyland isn't going to be open. The company said on Tuesday that it would forego its semi-annual dividend for shareholders, saving about $1.6 billion in cash. Must be nice to just be able to say, this time we're not doing it, here's $1 billion, almost $2 billion in our bank account. Must be nice. Must be nice to be able to play games with that much money. Disney's stock fell about 2% in after-hours trading on Wall Street following the earnings release, and before the financial report, the stock closed at $101.06 on Tuesday, down 2%. An analyst said a frequent critic of the company described the coronavirus-driven turnaround in stark terms in a blog post for clients. Disney has gone from being on top of the world to feeling like Eeyore stuck in the middle of a perfect storm with no end in sight. Whew. I mean, it's true though, because we don't know when the coronavirus is going to end, and obviously there are places that are starting to lift lockdown, which, I mean, everyone's allowed to have their own opinion on that, but places like Disneyland aren't going to be open in the next month or two. They're going to be closed for a couple of more months. Disney's parks in Shanghai and Hong Kong have been closed since January when the outbreak was spreading in China. Tokyo Disneyland has been shuttered since late February to help slow the spread of infections. When Disney might reopen its domestic parks is a matter of great speculation. An analyst from JP Morgan predicted the parks could open as soon as January 1st, but a different analyst said January 1st, 2021. Nothing's opening in June. Let's look at it. Nothing is going to open in June. I am going to assume, I'm going to make the prediction that January 1st, 2020 parks will reopen. I think that that's going to be the safest bet, and I think that that's what they're going to end up doing. And then, of course, it gets into a little bit more of the digital world. Now, the theatrical run of Disney's latest movie, Onward, was cut short because of cinema closures. It was quickly released on video-on-demand sites and later on Disney's streaming service Disney+. Disney's next release is Mulan, which was moved to July 21st after its original March 27th premiere was canceled. U.S. cinema chains are hoping to begin reopening in mid-June or early July, and then we have, of course, Black Widow and Soul have been delayed. I've talked a couple of times now about movie delays and movie closures and all of that. The video on demand service is good in my opinion. It's at least giving people something to do, but a lot of large companies like Disney, they don't want to do that. They don't want to put a movie like Black Widow directly onto Disney+. Yes, they will get sales from it, but the potential of waiting until it is in theaters is much larger, at least from the numbers that we've seen and the speculations that we've seen. It continues with Disney's direct-to-consumer and international segment, composed of Disney Plus, Hulu, and other units, continued to lose money as the company invested in growing its digital prowess to compete with Netflix and others. The direct-to-consumer businesses lost $812 million, more than double the loss from the same quarter last year. Streaming and international revenue surged to $4.12 billion compared to the $1.15 billion a year earlier. So, the total revenue for Disney was $18 billion, up 21% from a year ago, due largely to the inclusion of sales from 21st Century Fox businesses, and analysts had estimated $17.8 billion in revenue. Lots of numbers here, but Disney has taken a huge hit because of the coronavirus. You know, I would assume, I want to take the guess that they're not going to reopen until January 2021, which it is what it is. Unfortunately, a lot of industries right now are struggling. Obviously, here on the channel, we focus on the gaming and entertainment industries, but every industry is hurting right now. I mean, everyone in general is hurting right now. The world is a very confusing place currently, but you know, with something like theme parks, it's hard to estimate because there's so many people there and it's hard to keep track of numbers. How many people are in the park? Who's leaving? You know, it's already hard enough to deal with, never mind having to put safety measures in place. But I think the longer they keep them closed, even though they're losing a shit ton of money, you know, people are going to be safer in the long run. But that's all that I really had to talk about with the Disney topic. I'm glad that we covered it. If there's any other updates to it in the near future, I, of course, will discuss them. I followed Disney pretty closely, and I plan to continue to do so. Fuck Disney. Honestly, I'm someone that's very confused with Disney because they've said a lot of things, and people like Bob Iger have said a lot of contradicting things and things that I know a lot of us don't like. And you have people, the direct people under Bob Iger, like Kathleen Kennedy, you know, that say shit. You know, they say things that a lot of us don't like. But do I want Disney to fail? No, I'll be honest. They have a lot of franchises. They have a lot of names, a lot of IPs that I don't want to see fade away. And Disney does have a big presence. I don't want to say fuck Disney, but at the same time, you know, I think that we all kind of have a little bit of resentment for Disney. I think that it's fair enough to assume that most of us do. Karen Kennedy, get it right? I know. I saw this level of like Karens. It was like Becky, Karen, and then Susan. Like, Becky is, like, them in their early 20s. Then you have Karen, which is, like, 30s to 40s. And then you have Susan, which is, like, the seasoned one. It's hilarious. I love it. I guess I'm a Becky. I guess I'd be a Becky. The big guys will always survive. They want to wipe out small businesses. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's business. Everyone wants to wipe out their competition. It's just the way that it works, unfortunately. I'm not saying it's good, that's for sure. It's just kind of the way that it is, you know? Vera, did you know? I know, I saw that. The word y'all is racist, apparently. It's dumb. Just like most people saying, this is racist, like, this character's racist, this saying is racist, or bigoted, or hateful. I understand that, yes, there is a lot of hate in the world, but it comes to a point where it's like, you're saying y'all. Or there's a character in a game. Why do you have to look for something to be offended by in everything? I should start my videos off by saying, howdy, y'all. Howdy, y'all! Alright. Very, very loud and obnoxious. Alright, let us move into the second topic of the night, which is fucking Luke Skywalker. The toxic white cis male that he is. Oh boy. Oh boy, I hate saying stuff like that, even though it's a joke. I hate it, because there'll be one of you one day. It's like, why would you say that, Vera? It's a joke. Star Wars book downplays Luke Skywalker's heroics. Jin did everything that mattered. Now, I know a lot of people did not like Rogue One. I personally really liked Rogue One. I've always enjoyed the story. I'm a big fan of Star Wars, so I've read a lot of the novels, I've read a lot of the comics, I've played most of the games. I thought that the Rogue One movie was very good. I thought that it did add on quite a lot of story and a lot of telling to people that maybe are not as hardcore fans as I am, that maybe just want to watch a movie or watch a TV show. Maybe they didn't know who these characters were. I liked Rogue One. I thought it was okay. I thought the characters were pretty good. But of course, Luke Skywalker is just a man that's sucking off. He's sucking out all of the energy that a woman gives. He's, he's taking credit for all of this hard work and effort that a woman's done. And he's the hero. But of course, it was originally a woman that did all the work. So this is a Bounding Into Comics article. Lucasfilm's and Star Wars Alphabet Squadron novel released in June 2019 downplays Luke Skywalker's heroics in destroying the original Death Star in the first Star Wars film. Damn white males. The novel follows 5 New Republic pilots and takes place following the events of the Return of the Jedi. The team includes Quell, a former Imperial fighter pilot who deflects the rebellion and becomes the leader of the squadron. She leads the squadron as they attempt to track down and destroy the Shadow Wing. Why is there kissing on screen? This is NSFW. She leads the Alphabet Squadron as they attempt to track down and destroy the Shadow Wing, a lethal force of TIE fighters, exacting bloody, reckless vengeance in their twilight of their reign. The rest of the team includes Tencent, Cariso, Lark, Chaddock, as they reported by Disney Star Wars is dumb. Love that. Chaddock details to the squadron that Luke Skywalker's heroics during the original Star Wars film are essentially meaningless. Did you guys hear that? Did you guys see that? Apparently Luke Skywalker is just a meaningless male. She states, you know Jyn Erso? The woman who started it all and destroyed the Death Star? The first one. The real one, I mean. Given Erso didn't actually destroy the Death Star, the squadron remembered Tencent counters her General Skywalker and Red Squadron destroyed the Death Star. And Chas dismisses the truth of the matter and explains, Skywalker fired the last shot, was all. Jyn did everything that mattered. I met her once. I never thought we'd be in the timeline that Luke Skywalker never really did anything. I never thought we'd be in that timeline. I never thought I'd hear that accusation. But it's true. Apparently all that Skywalker did was fire the last shot. Apparently it was a woman that did everything. Now I want to say that yes, Jyn Erso did a lot. If you watch Rogue One, her and her team did a lot. They really did. I mean, they got the plans. They kind of saved the day. They really helped the story progress. If you didn't know the backstory, then, you wouldn't know how they got the plans and how they know all these things. I do genuinely think that Rogue One added on a lot. But to say that Skywalker did nothing is bullshit in my opinion. Skywalker has done so much. Look at the story, look at the movies. I just can't believe that this is what they write. And this isn't even someone's hot take or hot opinion. This is legitimately in a published book. My brain just feels like it's completely melting. She goes into detail when she met Jyn Erso in the 5-point system on the planet Yuchinao. I cannot say that. Cannot say that. I can say most Star Wars planets. Can't say that one. Interestingly enough, while Chas is telling this story, the narrator notes that part of her story is a lie. However, this narrator, as seen above, does not dispute Chas's claims regarding Luke Skywalker's destruction of the Death Star. It had been in the 5-point system on an awful little world. I was out of work, which wasn't true, out of the credits. Oh my gosh, his writing's awful. There was someone looking back at me then, and he had connections. I had scan docs that would pass a mobile inspection, but would trip alarms at a real checkpoint. All of which is to say it wasn't a great time in my life. So it goes into it. Star Wars and Disney have done quite a bit to discredit Luke Skywalker and Anakin Skywalker in the Disney trilogy. Without the Skywalkers, without Luke Skywalker, and without Anakin Skywalker, the stories are nothing. I'll be honest, the movies mean absolutely nothing. There is a lot of Star Wars before the movies and after the movies that don't include the Skywalkers, which is perfectly fine. I think those stories are great. But to say that Luke Skywalker and Anakin Skywalker really didn't do much in the movies is complete and total nonsense. Let's be honest. They're the whole focus of the movies. In The Force Awakens, Luke Skywalker had seemingly abandoned the galaxy as the First Order was launched their invasion and began conquering planets as well as kidnapping individuals and brainwashing them and turning them into stormtroopers. In The Last Jedi, Luke's backstory has gone from bad to worse. Not only has he abandoned the galaxy, but he sealed himself off from the Force, which given the definition of the Force should be impossible. But that's a story for another day. So true! You can't just turn the Force off. You can't just turn it on and turn it off. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. He's not the only one who sealed himself off from the Force, but it's revealed he premeditated the murder of his own nephew. Then after realizing what he had done, he abandons his family, the Republic, the Jedi teachings, and the galaxy. We've had so much of these characters that was just thrown to nothing. It was thrown to the trash can. Then at the end of the film, he does decide to join the fray, but by using the Force to project a vision, he expends his own life and dies. He essentially commits suicide, rendering any other aid he could provide to the Resistance null and void. Now, I do want to say one thing, and that's the fact that they apparently wanted this trilogy to be about Leia. They wanted her to be the last Jedi. They really wanted her to take the story. Now, I don't like that they killed off Luke Skywalker, but I'm gonna give them a little bit of a pebble of hope. If they had made the story focused on Leia and she was the one to save the situation at the end of the day, and she was the true hero, I wouldn't have been mad at that. Because she was always a great character. And it's not like she would have been just this forced-in female character, let's make a female the powerful one just to. If they had made Leia the focus of the movies, I would have loved that. Unfortunately, Carrie Fisher died, and they had to change their vision a little bit. But with The Force Awakens, with The Last Jedi, when she was still alive, they didn't really do much with her. So it felt like they were just saying that to try to make fans happy. I would have been okay with Leia being, the rise of Skywalker and her being the big the big goodie, not the big baddie, but the big goodie. I would have loved that. But it really doesn't look like they were going for that, even though they said they wanted to. Contradictory statements and whatnot from them always. Luke's achievements in the original trilogy by deeming his father, Darth Vader, and ultimately defeating the Emperor are undone in The Rise of Skywalker. Yep, we just have to null and void anything that these great male characters have ever done. Luke didn't actually defeat the Emperor, as he transported his being into another clone and lived and began rebuilding his empire in Exegol. I thought that was cheesy. If they were going to bring back the Emperor, I thought that they could have done it in a lot better ways, and it just felt useless. He literally was there to sit down, make 3 statements, and then he was gone. That was it. It was for nothing. It's hard to not see that Kathleen Kennedy's led Lucasfilm set out to destroy the accomplishments of Luke Skywalker and are still doing everything they can to rewrite his history. This is why I don't want to support Lucasfilms, honestly, because they're undoing all of the good story and these good character elements because the character's a male, and I don't like that. You know, I'm fine with strong, independent, female-led movies and all of these female characters, but I don't want you to erase the male characters because you think that it's going to get people on your side and you think that's a way to promote diversity and inclusivity. Cutting out the male characters doesn't make it inclusive and diverse. Just my opinion. So that's all that I really had to talk about with that. Unfortunately, Luke Skywalker is just another toxic white male. It's disappointing to me. I really don't like seeing this. This is not the Star Wars I want to see. Again, I thought Jyn Erso was a great character, but if this is what they want to make her, then I don't want to see her again. I don't want them to do a before the Rogue One movie and all this stuff like they were talking about. Not interested. I'm done. Not okay with it anymore. Wait until they fuck up the Mandalorian and they they say we couldn't get the actor back so we gender swapped him or something. I know it's not happening, but like, it wouldn't surprise me at this point if they did some outrageous move. Like, oh, this main character, we're gonna gender swap because we can. You know, like, it just feels like that's something that they'd actually do at this point. It's unfortunate to hear. I love Star Wars. This is not the Star Wars that I love, though. Star Wars The Karen Awakens, fucking basically 007. Basically. Let's be honest, none of us are the target audience for Star Wars anymore, and that's the shitty part. Because we still are the ones that are watching Star Wars and buying games and going to buy tickets. We're still the people that will do that. So they should, I don't want to say that they should directly market to us, but they should listen to fans more, because they're listening to people that aren't really fans. It sucks. Well, George Lucas is pissed at Disney's manipulation of the original characters. Well, he's the idiot that sold the rights. You know what? I don't want to listen to George Lucas. I think that he's created some outstanding, amazing things, but he was the one that sold it because he cared more about money than his own characters. His choice. He got the money. So be on your way. You know, that's like they talk about maybe bringing George Lucas back for something. No. You gave up your chance. You blew it. See you later. He wanted money, and that's fine. I'm not saying it's bad that he wanted money. But he obviously, I think about if I created something. If I created these characters and they were these amazing characters, I would never want to get rid of them because the characters matter more than the money. The creation means more, but it is what it is. Can't pay the bills with likes and retweets. He could have paid the bills because he was already a millionaire because he owned these characters that everyone wanted. I get that he got, you know, there's so many rumors about how much money he got, but let's say he got X amount of money. You know, he could have made that back over time. It's not like he was a struggling independent artist that couldn't get off the ground. Like, he's George Lucas. It is what it is, though. I mean, he fucked up Star Wars before that. You know, Lucasfilms. We see what happened with Lucasfilms. He made some shitty decisions. Now he can deal with them. It's not like he really cares, though, at this point. I mean, Vera, he was offered billions. Who cares? I'm gonna be honest. He was making millions and millions of dollars every year from owning the characters and owning the franchise. So I'm just gonna say something. When you have $1 billion, what are you gonna spend it on? He had hundreds of millions of dollars. He could never spend that in his lifetime. So what does it matter if you have $400 million, what does it matter if you get 400 million more? What does it matter? Honestly, at that point, what does it matter? It's not like he was a J.K. Rowling and he gave away all of his money and then he was struggling for money. It's not like it was that situation. Whew. Sorry. It's true. It's what it is, though. It is what it is, though. Yeah, I get some weird targeting advertisement. Honestly, I hate the targeting ads that I get because it's so random. So I'll get things like clothes, you know, streaming services. But then I'll also get things like Amazon and eBay for like graphics cards and stuff. It's so random. I don't know. I get literally every type of ad. Every type of ad. I get men targeted ads too. Don't know why. Don't know why. I get really random ads. Really do. It's bizarre. I'll be honest. Alright. Now we're moving on to a banger. Yeah, the ads are trying to guess what I'm gonna buy, but it just... some of the ads are so bad. He was supposed to... everyone wants to open a museum. He wanted to open a Star Wars museum. He never did that. Like, he was selling, like, original props and stuff and, like, actual pieces of memorabilia that would go in a museum. Who knows where those are now? Vera, it's ma'am. Look at the value of Lucasfilms before Disney. Before anyone here wants to say he needed help, Lucasfilms did not need Disney. Lucasfilms, George Lucas, no one needed Disney. None of them needed, no. Yeah, George Lucas didn't need Disney. Lucasfilms didn't need Disney. Lucasfilms was perfectly fine by themselves. And then he just decided he didn't want to deal with it anymore. I'm not sure. It's kind of heartbreaking to talk about George Lucas because... he's created great things, but at the same time, he ditched it, so it is what it is. Oh no, I already see you guys looking at the article. Fuck Fiji 24/7. I see it. I see your comments already. Of course, we have another journalist insulting and attacking the people that he's trying to get to read his articles. Insulting and attacking gamers for not supporting Sony and the leaked story for The Last of Us Part 2. I've talked about The Last of Us Part 2 quite a few times now in Naughty Dog. But this is more of a commentary of a journalist defending Sony and Naughty Dog, not taking into consideration the rumors about how their employees have been treated, how people were getting copyright strikes, how people were getting silenced by Sony and Naughty Dog. And it's just a journalist that wants their free review copy. VG 24/7, it's about hate. The Last of Us Part 2 has brought out the worst of us. Couldn't come up with anything better there? Okay. This story is about hate, an intense, harrowing, and emotional adventure, said The Last of Us 2's creative director at a 2016 panel. He might have been talking about the game's themes, but it could easily be a description of everything that's been happening over the past few weeks. Here comes the pity party. If you're not up to speed, here's the lowdown. Earlier this year, Kotaku released a report about the working conditions at Naughty Dog. The article paints a picture of simultaneously the best and the worst workplace in the world. I'm gonna tell you something. I don't think that Kotaku painted a picture. I think that Kotaku honestly talked to developers and gave the facts and gave the statements. I don't think that it painted a picture. I think that they just reported the story, and while I know a lot of us don't like Kotaku, I think that there are Kotaku writers that have done good in the past, and there are Kotaku writers that actually care about the industry. Hot take. They try to take care of you, providing food, encouragement to take breaks. I mentioned this in today's video, actually. Go and watch that after the stream if you have not already. Said one former developer. But for the most part, the implication is get the job done at all costs. I haven't covered the broad spectrum of this, but the gaming industry, there's a lot of rumors and a lot of conversations about the industry having a very large time crunch and developers being treated poorly, not being paid for all of the hours that they've done, you know, just it being poor work atmospheres. And I haven't done a big video on it, and I've been considering it. I've been considering rounding up some articles and some conversations for maybe like a very long video. But this isn't something new. It's not something exclusive to Naughty Dog or exclusive to The Last of Us Part 2. This is something that happens crunch culture. It's legitimate. The main symptom of this heavy workload is talent churn. After work wrapped up for Uncharted 4, 70% of the non-lead designers left the company. Even the co-lead departed shortly after the game shipped, apparently burnt out. There are legitimate concerns about the well-being of workers at Naughty Dog, but these concerns have been co-opted and used as an excuse to act aberrantly by a vocal portion of the audience. Just over a week ago, there was a huge leak from The Last of Us Part 2. I'm just gonna say all of the game's been spoiled at this point, like 90% of it. I've seen all of it. Tens of hours. There's been like 20 hours leaked so far. It's crazy. Important scenes were leaked in their entirety, and the whole premise of the game was laid bare. Rumors began circulating that this was the work of a disgruntled employee who hadn't been paid. Over the past couple of days, it's become apparent that this isn't the case at all. The leak was work of hackers who had used an exploit in a patch to a previous Naughty Dog game. Now, this is unconfirmed. So, I'm going to lay it down for you guys because this article is pretty biased. Naughty Dog and Sony came out saying that the person leaking the gameplay was not affiliated with Naughty Dog or Sony. Now, from what we've heard, they're trying to damage control at this point. From what we know, they're trying to damage control at this point. If you were an ex-employee, though, of Naughty Dog or Sony, you technically aren't affiliated with them. So there is still speculation that it was an ex-employee, and they're just trying to cover their ass, and they're just trying to get around the situation. They're trying to say it was a random hacker, but if it was an exploit in a patch to a previous game, that would be very easily confirmable, and no one's confirmed that yet, so there's been no evidence of that. It's literally just Sony and Naughty Dog saying it's not they weren't affiliated with us. There's no physical, like, evidence of that right now. I'm not saying that it's not true. Definitely not, you know. Who knows? Still, despite this proof to the contrary, all stories about the leak being from the work of hackers are being bombarded with comments in which people are claiming Sony and Naughty Dog are lying. Like I just said, I'm not claiming that they're lying. I'm just claiming, in pointing out the fact that there is other evidence to say otherwise. It is what it is. I'm just gonna say, in the gameplay, there were names that were hidden in codes and whatnot that we saw on screen, and they lead back to a developer. I'm not gonna say the person's name, but they do lead back to an ex-employee of Naughty Dog that was working on The Last of Us 2. We'll put that out there. Apparently, they're just trying to cover up the fact that this alleged former employee didn't get the bonuses that they were promised. Yet, the conspiracy theories soldier on because of wallopers, is that how you say it, on the internet. I've never been called a walloper. I like it. Am I saying that right? Hold on one second. Is this like an actual word? Well, no, it's not. It's not an actual word, so okay, I'll take it though. I believe there's a singular reason for this. It's because the vocal minority. Let me zoom in on this. The vocal minority of angry internet babies are pissed off that the story isn't catered to them, the protagonists of reality. So I'm someone that is generally unhappy with what I've seen of The Last of Us Part 2 leaks. I'm not going to say the leaks. I wouldn't say that I'm pissed off because the story doesn't cater to me. I'm pissed off with the fact that the story specifically was made to cater to specific groups of people. Because it's confirmed that Anita Sarkeesian had some play in this. I've talked about it in a past video. But the game was influenced by Anita Sarkeesian and Feminist Frequency. Where is the rumors? Where is the news that the game was actually influenced by real gamers, by people that actually would buy this shit? It's nowhere because it's not true. They didn't look at what fans and what real consumers wanted. They went with a story that they felt could be more diverse. And they're not doing it because they care about diversity. They're doing it because they care, because diversity is diverse. Like, they don't actually care about making a change or it having a long-lasting impact on people. They just want money. They're doing diversity for diversity's sake. I'm sick and tired of her name. First $5 donation that I get tonight, $5 and up, I'll say Anita's name 20 times. I will. I'll do it. No, I'm kidding. Over the years, video games have done their best to pander to them. Every bit of corporate messaging makes them believe art is for them, and artists are their servants. Guys! I just yelled so loud. If you are an artist here, you're my servant. Every artist in the gaming industry is apparently my servant because I'm an angry internet baby. How do you all feel about that? How do you all feel about that? We do this for you, the gamers, says the corporate overlord who wants to sell you a product. Don't like something? No worries, we'll pass it out. So this is someone that is saying that when people complain, it's awful that they get what they want, yet I'm sure that this is the type of person that would complain if they did not get what they want. Seems a little hypocritical. I think that this writer, I'm not going to say their name because you can all look at the article if you really want. I'm sure that they are an angry internet baby too. I love this. It's basement-dwelling shitlords who complain about characters' breast sizes. If they're realistic, it's an SJW game and it's censorship. If they're massive cartoon tits, that's just artistic integrity, dude. We're talking about video games. You know what video games are, you guys? Guys. Do you know what video games are? They're fucking fiction. So what does it matter if a female character's breast size is at E36? What does it matter? We're talking about fictional game. We're talking about a fictional character in a fictional world with fictional situations. Why don't we look at Mortal Kombat? They decided to cover the females up, reduce their bodies, make them sticks, make them twigs, make them logs. Because they claim they wanted to respect their female fan base and for realism. How can someone crush someone's skull with their foot? How does that happen in real life? Provide me the evidence. So it's awful, in my opinion, that game companies and developers go into something saying, we want realism, yet the rest of their game isn't realistic. How is it fair that you tone down female characters for realism, yet they literally snap their fingers and the character explodes? Two plus two equals 6. Anyone who's played The Last of Us knows Ellie is gay and that these shitbirds use that fact as a shield. I played The Last of Us 1 recently. I wanted to replay it. I got no lesbian gay vibes from Ellie. Maybe like once at the very end you like had a little bit like of a moment. I don't know. I didn't get that gay vibe from Ellie, which is fine. I am not against gay people. I'm not against anyone that is LGBTQ. I am not against any portrayal of a gay relationship in a game. I just want it to feel natural, and I don't want it to be forced for the sake of having diversity and inclusivity, because it doesn't work. I liked the first one, so I'm clearly not mad that the game is progressive, they'll say. I'm not mad that the game is progressive at all. I have no problems with that. I guess I'm a basement-dwelling shitlord angry crybaby, but I'm not mad that that Ellie is gay. I have no problem with that. I'm perfectly fine with that. It says, except Ellie's sexuality was only explored in an optional DLC. Yes, it was. And that's fine, but she was young in the game. How old was Ellie when the game started? How old was Ellie? She was 14 years old. I'm just gonna say something. If a 14-year-old in a game portrayed a relationship that was maybe a straight relationship, let's say Ellie and Joel. Now, their relationship was very different. It's not, I'm just saying hypothetically. If Ellie and Joel had a relationship in the game, a 14-year-old girl with Joel, he's in his later 30s, the game would be boycotted, and people like this would say this is disgusting and awful. But they're saying it's okay when it's a gay relationship. Okay. I'm just gonna leave that there. Again, I'm fine with her having a relationship with Dina. It's fine. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with the relationship. Anyway, let's not dwell on that too long. I won't go into spoiler territory, but The Last of Us Part 2 also features other forms of representation, and the reaction to that has been abhorrent. I came into work this morning and spent the first hour of my day banning people in the comments for being hateful, disgusting human beings. There is hate in everything. People are hateful in any industry, in any community. You ignore them. There's going to be people that truly dislike the plot of this game, that truly dislike the relationship. They're allowed to have their own opinions, yes. Being hateful is another thing. If you're saying it's in the comment section, just delete the comment. If that's what you want to do, go ahead and do it. They say, and this is only a portion of the turd pie that Naughty Dog employees have been served over the past couple of weeks. Of course, director Neil Druckmann has also shared some of the anti-Semitic comments he's been receiving on Instagram. It's a barrage of bile. Then there's the sad people who've created Twitter accounts just to reply to tweets with spoiler videos and messages. I do not condone anyone saying anything anti-Semitic to Neil Druckmann. Even though I don't like statements he's made in the past, no one deserves to be attacked for their race, religion, gender. No one deserves to be attacked for that. But where's the call for action and people saying stand up for people and all of these people are being bullied when people on social media are openly attacking white cis men? I don't see anyone being online going, protect the white cis men, they're being attacked. I don't see any rallies on social media for white cis male characters are being removed from our media and no one's talking about it, bring more light to it. I don't see any of that on social media. How is that fair? Anyway, again, I don't condone the anti-Semitic comments he's receiving. That's awful and that's disgusting. They say, yet these people dare to hide behind the working conditions at Naughty Dog. Any criticism of them is shut down and they claim you don't care about the workers. If you truly believe that, ask yourself this. How would you feel if you worked your fingers to the bone for something for 5 years and the conversation around it turned into one of the most toxic events in video games right at the final hurdle? Maybe they should have written a better story. They should have known going into this that people were going to dislike it. And that's okay. People are allowed to dislike it, but you have to think, if you're confident in what you made, stand up for it. Don't back down and say, this is what we wanted to create. But there's a lot of people apparently in the community, in their, their developer community that didn't like the game and didn't want to create it and disliked it. I don't think there's anything wrong with someone disliking something else. I don't think that that's the worst thing to ever happen. Anyway, it finishes off with the anger is there because Naughty Dog dared to make a video game story that seemingly strays from the norm. It's no wonder most developers play it safe. After all, it was never about working conditions, it's about hate. I think that this article is ridiculous, honestly. I mean, how many times can journalists call people they are trying to market their product to angry babies? Let's look at the insults real quick. Where are they? So we have angry internet babies, and we have every bit of corporate messaging makes them believe art is for them and artists are their servants. I've never thought that an artist is my servant, but it is what it is. I didn't like this article. This is why I'm using an archive, but it is what it is. It's an article that exists. I believe it's still active right now. I believe that they haven't taken it down, so it's still active if you want to go and support it, which is perfectly fine. But that's all that I'm going to talk about with the article and about The Last of Us Part 2. And we will move on to the last topic of the night, which is going to be Batwoman. Really quickly, before we get into the last topic, if you guys are enjoying the live stream, please make sure to give it a like. If you're not, give it a dislike. Subscribe to the channel if you are not already supporting the channel. Please consider becoming a Dark Titan and a supporter via Patreon. You can become a supporter for just $1 a month. You know, you can pledge now, and then it will charge you again on the first of the month. It doesn't charge you on initial pledge, but it will charge you on the first of the month. Please make sure to at least check it out. Check out the Patreon. If you're not interested in that, that's perfectly fine. I also have direct donation set up for the channel. So yeah, there was my self-shill for the night. Consider supporting the channel. It would mean a lot to me. But obviously it's not necessary, and I appreciate you guys just being here, watching the stream, liking it, and watching the videos. Much appreciated. Alright, let's set this up. There we go. And I'll check the chat really quickly before I move into the last topic of the night. Batwoman, oh my god. Yeah, I have to talk about Batwoman like one more time. See, you guys, before I had a moisturizer, I think tonight we've had a moisturizer ad, graphics cards, and now I have UFC. Targeted ads, man. Yeah. Alright. So I've watched Batwoman. I personally do not like Batwoman. I have enjoyed most of the CW shows. I'll be honest. I know a lot of people don't like it. They think it's cheesy. I kind of like the CW shows. The first couple of seasons of every show was great and amazing, and I loved it. But this show truly fell off the map for me. I could not be any more disappointed, honestly, with this show. And I know a lot of you guys probably feel the same way. If you don't, that's fine. You know, you are allowed to like something that I don't like. But I personally thought, or I think so far, that Batwoman has been awful trash. And apparently I'm not alone, because the CW's Batwoman viewership plunges, and the latest episode posts the worst viewership numbers of the entire season. So, the CW's Batwoman series, starring Ruby Rose, posted its worst viewership numbers in its debut season, with its latest episode, A Narrow Escape. According to the TV series finale, Batwoman's A Narrow Escape was only viewed by 634,000 people and posted a 0.20 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic. That is the worst viewership the show has had in its first season since it premiered on October 6th, 2019. The last time the show had viewership below 700K was January 26th, with an unbirthday present. I'll be honest, I personally don't like Ruby Rose. I just don't think that she is an actress that I personally want to see all the time. There are very few actors and actresses that I do really like, but I just feel like she is a subpar actress. And yes, I think that she's had some pretty good roles and some pretty good cinematic moments, but overall, I'm just not impressed with her. I think that is a big problem with Batwoman, was the casting. I think that all of the other CW shows have had amazing casting. I think that, you know, Oliver Queen and you know, Barry Allen and, I mean, Black Canary, all of these characters have been, you know, have been casted perfectly, but she just didn't do it for me. The show would continue to bleed viewership until the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover episode on December 9th, titled Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2. That episode saw viewership boom to 1.7 million and a rating of 0.60. However, it would be short-lived viewership boost. The following episode, How Queer Everything Is Today, which aired on January 19th, saw viewership plummet below 1 million for the first time, and it only had 791,000 viewers. The next episode would go below 700K with only 674,000 people tuning in for an unbirthday present. It would reach viewership high of for 2020 with the next episode, Take Your Choice, and it had 848,000 and a rating of 0.23. From there, the show... Oh. Oops. Thank you, Jeff, for the $2 donation. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much. I appreciate the donation. Continuing on. From there, the show would continue to decline. The next 3 episodes would have viewership at 815,000, 751,000, and then 749,000. A lot of numbers tonight, honestly. I'm reading too many numbers. There would be a slight rebound with Through the Looking Glass on March 22nd, and it saw viewership at 765,000. It does go into audiences rate the show poorly. This is a big problem with Batwoman, is that I don't think that the general viewership cares about Batwoman. I'll say it. I've always kind of enjoyed Batwoman. I don't think that she's the best character to ever be created, but I just don't think people care about Batwoman that much, honestly. Especially this take of Batwoman, I just don't think that it's there. Also, I think with Supergirl, I liked Supergirl the first season, and then it completely fell off the map for me. I stopped caring about it. I think the cinematics are bad. I think this writing's bad. I think the casting's bad. I'm sorry. Just my hot take. Deadline reported back in March that Batwoman was one of the series that did not finish filming its final episodes due to government-mandated shutdowns over concerns from the Wuhan virus. It had 2 episodes left to film, so unfortunately Batwoman may be a show that is held back. You know, I've talked about it a couple of times. A lot of movies and shows are being held back because of the coronavirus. Nothing you can really do about it, but, you know, if you're a fan of the show, then it sucks. If you're not a fan of the show, then it doesn't matter. Going to the end, though, it says, Johnson did indicate that he hopes they will shoot episodes 21 and 22. Although I'd love to shoot those episodes, and I still hope those stories come, because those episodes are freaking fantastic, I am totally okay at the current moment of finishing the season with episode 20, because I think it's a pretty incredible cliffhanger. I just think that people didn't care about Batwoman. I think that to capture someone's attention, you have to make the characters perfect, and I just don't think Batwoman was perfect. But those are the ends of the topics that I had to discuss tonight. We talked about Batwoman's plunging viewership. We discussed the VG247 article in The Last of Us Part 2. We discussed... What else did we discuss tonight? Oh my goodness. We discussed Disney, and we discussed Star Wars and Luke Skywalker. So thank you for coming to the stream, you guys. I appreciate it. I am going to go to the Q&A portion of the live stream now. So if you have any questions or answers or comments for me, please feel free to put them in the chat now, and I will talk with you guys for a couple of minutes before we end. Thank you guys for stopping by. Well, let me check really quickly. Thank you, Jeff, for becoming a Patreon. Thank you for becoming a Dark Titan. I do very much so appreciate it. I am currently reworking the supporter and the Patreon rewards. I do have a couple of ideas, so I am reworking them currently, but thank you so much for becoming a supporter. Please make sure to join the Discord if you are not in it already. I will set your roles so you can come into the supporter chat. I did see the Angry Joe rant about The Last of Us 2. I really like Angry Joe. I think that he's a great content creator. I usually support his opinions, and I think that his take on it was pretty good. Definitely. I thought the Final Fantasy VII Remake was good. I did stream the whole game except for the last 2 chapters, because unfortunately, because of Square Enix, you can't stream the last 2 chapters. I thought the game was pretty good. I do think that it was a bit monotonous at times. It was a bit slow at times, but I did overall enjoy it. And if you are a fan of Final Fantasy, I do think you'll like it. I personally was just hoping for more from the combat system, but beggars can't be choosers, and I'm very grateful that we got the remake in the first place, and it was really good as a standalone game. Let me check chat very quickly. Man, those Supergirl CGIs I see on Twitter look like PS2 animations. Some of the CW animations are pretty poor. Honestly, some of them are pretty bad. I have not seen the Harley Quinn cartoon. When are you playing more Streets of Rage 4? I'm not sure. I probably will play a little bit more though soon. I'm thinking maybe Friday. Maybe Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, I'll play a little bit more Streets of Rage 4. Definitely. I will update you guys, though. I'm enjoying Final Fantasy VII. Good. If you guys are enjoying the game, hell yeah. That's awesome. I don't want games to come out and fail. I know that a lot of people say, oh, you know, negative content. I want games to succeed. I want the industries to succeed. And I'm very glad that we even got the remake in the first place. Thanks for the answer. I loved the game myself. Good. Yeah, I thought that it was pretty good. The ending... it was, yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan. Let me check. Good old JRPGs. I love a good JRPG. I'm a big fan. Very big fan, personally. I love Oracle. Oracle has always been a character that I loved. You know, I know that this isn't part of the CW, and I know that Oracle doesn't have anything to do with this, but I loved Gotham. I thought Gotham, the show, it wasn't... Who was Gotham even by? Oh my goodness gracious. I'm blanking right now. Gotham was Fox. Yeah, that's right. Gotham was an amazing show. I'm gonna be honest. Gotham was one of the better shows I've seen. I loved it. And I feel so sad that it's done and it's over. I thought their casting was fucking great. I thought it was a great show. What do you think of Ghost of Tsushima? I think that it looks okay so far. It is a game that is on my radar to maybe play. I may stream it when it comes out. It comes out in what? June? When does it come out now? They moved the date, didn't they? Yeah. July 17th. I don't have it pre-ordered, but it is a game I am considering playing on stream. I am going to ask my patrons, my Dark Titans, if that is a game that they want to see, but I definitely have my eye on it. Yeah, July. Yeah. Lena, get back to work! Get back to work, Lena. Lurking. Nice, Frank. You caught the end of the stream. The last episode seemed rushed of what, Gotham? Yeah, maybe the ending wasn't the best. I feel like the last season wasn't top-notch, but I think that overall the show was great. I'm more excited for Ghost of Tsushima than The Last of Us Part 2 at this point. I've kind of... Honestly... I was pretty excited for The Last of Us Part 2. I will play it at some point, but it's not a game I plan to play at release. Overall, though, I think that people will still like it. I think that there will still be a market for it, and good for you. If you're excited for The Last of Us Part 2, fucking go for it. You buy it, you support it, awesome. It's just not a game that I'm going to support at launch, I don't think. I've asked you guys if you want to see The Last of Us Part 2, if you want me to stream it on release, but a lot of you, majority of people say that they don't want to see me stream it on release, which is fine. What do you think of Assassin's Creed Valhalla? I'm excited for it. I haven't really played many recent Assassin's Creed games. I haven't played Odyssey. Well, I've played a little bit of it, but I haven't played much of it. I'm definitely going to revisit some Assassin's Creed games, but if anything with Vikings is a buy for me. I will buy anything with Vikings. 100%. Will you be doing a reaction to the Xbox event this Thursday? I'm not going to do a reaction, but next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern when I do the discussion stream. Well, usually it's Monday or Tuesday. But next week when I do my discussion stream, I most likely will talk about it and give you guys my thoughts on it. You remind me of Batgirl. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, Valhalla looks pretty good. I'm pretty excited for it. Alright, you guys, I am going to end the live stream here. Thank you all so much for stopping by tonight and, you know, hanging out, listening to the stream. I do appreciate it. If you are not already part of the Discord, please make sure to join it. We are very active there. Please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon. You can become a Dark Titan for just $1 a month. It does really help support the channel. You get to take place in Q&As. And you also get to join the supporter chat. There will be some more rewards and whatnot coming soon. But yes, thank you all so much for stopping by tonight. Give it a like if you enjoyed, a dislike if you did not, and have a fantastic night, everybody.